So as you can see, I still have the expression from the previous video, and the reason why I still have it is because I want to go over an example where we're taking an input from a user and then converting into a number and using it in our expression. Remember that whenever we take an input from a user, it always comes in as textual data, so we need to convert it into numerical data. And you know that in C# we have different types of numerical data, and one of them is int, one of them is double, and there's many more, but in this case we're dealing with an int. So what we want to do is we want to take an input from a user and then convert it into a type of int, then use it in our expression. So let's go ahead and do that. You already know how to take an input from a user, so I will say string input. See, I misspelled it, so I will say string input equals console read line, and then this is our input. So now we have an input from a user. However, we won't be able to use it in an expression because if I actually try to say plus input, then you will see that it says cannot implicitly convert type string to int. So we have to actually convert it before passing it in. So then let's actually try to convert this. I will say int converted input to number. Then I will say int try parse. We'll pass in input, and then I will say out converted input to number. Great. So then let me use converted input to number in our expression, and see, the red line went away. So now we can actually use this. Basically what try parse is a pre-written method that exists on the type int. It actually exists on other numerical types as well. So if you want to convert it into a double, you can use try parse as well. And then out is a keyword, is a reserved keyword, but we'll go over that in our next section. It's basically value types versus reference types. All out is saying is that we're going to pass this parameter in by reference, and you don't have to worry about that now. I will go over all that in the next section. It's just too much to go over it now. For now, just know that whenever you're trying to convert a string to an int, you need this reserved keyword here. So now we know how to convert a string into an int. But one thing to note is that the user won't always enter numerical data. The user might enter something like a letter or a word. So if that happens, then the conversion will not succeed. And basically, if that happens, then your converted input to number will just be 0. So this will still won't break, but the conversion won't happen successfully. So one other thing is, see this? It says bool is the return type of this method. So this method, which once again we will go over methods, this method returns a type of bool. And we've already went over what bools are. Those are types that only have two values, true or false. So this try parse will either return true or false, meaning if the conversion went successfully, it will say true, and if the conversion failed, it will say false. So later down the line, we will also learn about conditional statements. We'll be able to check if the conversion was successful or not, and based on that, we will see if we want to use it in our expressions. But for now, we've learned how to take an input from a user, convert it into a type of int, or any other type for that matter, and then use it in our expression. Let's actually go ahead and breakpoint it here, and I will run the application. And it's waiting for an input, so I will say 10 or 1000, why not? And here, see if I hover over it, it says 1000, and also note that says type int. So it has converted our textual data into numerical data. So I will say continue. It'll give me the result. I don't really need to see what the result is, but let's see what happens if I just put in some textual data. What happens is that the convert input to number is 0. So the conversion didn't succeed. We still use it in our expression. The expression will still work. It's just that we want to know whether the conversion succeeded or not. And we will learn that in the next couple of videos.